Hey, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the Monday live show, which becomes a Tuesday podcast. But tonight, it's the Wednesday edition. Special guest checking in all the way from British Standard Time, the Ian K, UK, HXR. How are you, Ian?
I'm good, Matt. That's actually British summertime, but it doesn't matter. It works.
Explain it to me later. And also joining me, her first time on the live show, but her second time on the show where she broke the fucking internet, like did great in her first race. Like, who is this lady? How do you say her name? It's Fozzie Fit herself. It's Catherine Fossbender.
I love when you pronounce my last name.
I'm really good at, I just spent a week. I don't want to brag. I just spent a weekend on the Isle of HYROX, and there were accents from all over the world. And what a treat for my ears. Just what a pleasant treat for me.
Yeah. How was it?
Amazing. Prettiest place I've ever been.
Yeah.
Like kind of hands down, prettiest place I've ever been.
Wait a minute. You've come to Manchester and to Rochdale, and Croatia is the prettiest place you've ever been.
Yes, I've been to Rochdale and watched people get into a fight for no reason at a rugby match. Are you drinking anything, Ian? I know you like to talk about what you're drinking. I've got a delicious Polar Premium Seltzer, Blackberry Mango.
Ooh.
I've got Rubicon, which is left over from the Swift Half earlier on.
And then I also have some delicious iced coffee.
I have delicious water.
Do you drink a specific amount of ounces every day?
No, I drink like 5 or 6 of my water bottles though.
So it's not like, hey, I got to get my gallon in. It's just, if you're doing 5 or 6 and you're peeing 10 or 12 times, you're in the right place.
Yeah, I always pass the same guy in my office every time I go. So it's a lot.
Is he like, what's up, dude?
He's like, and then if you drink coffee too, it just makes it even worse.
Yeah. I always think I'm going to drink enough water, and I never do. Welcome. If you're joining us on this special day, we'd love to hear from you in the comments, find out where you're checking in from, et cetera, et cetera. Let's start with the biggest news of the week, everybody. The news everyone's talking about, the 6-minute penalty, which he himself turned into a disqualification, which is a whole nother thing. You've both were given homework and forced to watch my content. What's your thoughts, Fozzie Fit? First thoughts.
Okay, so my first thought was when I saw the video, I was like, what is this guy doing? First of all, I was like, in no way. I know he said he's newer to the sport, so like understandable, but also like he's done so many races in the past where you should know the rules of the lunges. Even if it's your first or second race, you should know that that is not the rules in the rule book. That's my personal opinion on it.
Ian, you and I have talked a bit before this. You actually connected me with Mr. Noble. But what were your thoughts after watching the 22-minute breakdown?
Credit to him for owning it. Big credit to him. I kind of agree with you, Matt. I think the bigger issue here, which I'm sure we'll talk about, is the use of spectator video for putting penalties, which we'll probably touch on. I do kind of agree with Catherine about he should have known what he was doing. I appreciate what he said on the stream, being that he was cramping up and he was just trying to shake his legs out. But yeah, it does kind of seem like maybe you're doing something because you didn't see the judge. Because I like him. For record, I do like Sean. All credit to him for owning it. He is a phenomenal athlete. I just wish it didn't look like he was taking advantage of that there was no judge around him, because that's the kind of thing you get the impression when he says, well, when I got to the judge, I started lunging properly.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that too. And there's a thought that I've had recently that I don't think I've said to you yet, Ian. And if you notice, there are a couple of camps, which there usually is with these kind of things. One is give the guy a break. He owned up to it. Some of those people are clearly his friends or family. And the other end is like, oh my God, string him up. Right? We have our first fan of the day here. But the idea that he is a repeat offender, which just seems to be what's come up before, that he did something similar in Madrid. Is it possible, Ian, that they are consciously or unconsciously penalizing him for that? Like, oh, kind of like, forgive the analogy, kind of like when they found OJ guilty of theft, they were like, well, we didn't get to put him away for murder, so let's give him 15 years for theft. So do you think maybe they were like, oh, we've had our eye on this guy, and let's kind of not just make an example of him for this, but make an example of him because we're on to him, which of course they shouldn't do. The rule book should be the rule book, but that's just a thought I had. What do you think, Ian?
I think that's a fair comment because I'm not sure if you actually remember the controversy in Madrid.
I don't.
It was.
Can you remind everybody?
Yeah,
Well,
it was on the live
I'm going to
stream.
post that we're speaking so we can get more exciting viewers. Well, so go ahead and talk about what happened in Madrid. First of all, when was it? Give people the set up the table, as it were.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure that Madrid was the same weekend as Glasgow last year. So we're probably talking March 2024. Sorry, Glasgow this year. I'm already in 2025. But yeah, Glasgow this year, but last season. And it was live streamed, as these things were in Spain. Spain's one of the countries, because it's a franchise, they'll do live stream. People were watching, and strange things were happening to Sean. He was taking part in the race. He got up to the burpees, and the judge got in his way. So the judge wouldn't let him start his burpees. He physically stood in his way.
Like intentionally?
Like intentionally. If you watch the live stream back, you can see the judge stopping him from burping at the start. We think, but can't confirm, the judge was confused because the men's doubles had gone past before the men's pro, and because Sean got the side by side with another competitor, he may have thought they were doubles.
Okay.
And Sean doesn't speak Spanish. I don't believe the judge spoke Irish, so they couldn't really communicate with each other. But Sean had that. There was then accusations on the lunges again that he was doing some shuffling. I'll be honest, because I was in Glasgow, I didn't watch the whole thing back. So all I know is all secondhand information. And then when he got to the wall balls, again, the judge got involved, was no repping him for various reasons. Again, it didn't look good from, I almost said Spartan's point of view there. See, I'm just so used to saying Spartan when it comes to like things like this. But from HYROX Spain point of view, it didn't look great. And then afterwards, HYROX came back and said, oh, we noticed he was cheating here, there, and everywhere, like on lunges, etc. So it's potentially fair comment from you, Matt, that is Sean's card unfortunately marked? I'm not sure. Only HYROX would know.
Are you trying to say his card was marked?
Yeah, what did I say?
Card was marked.
Oh, God. It's English. Same difference.
Well, the other thing, so that I do want to talk about this, and I didn't realize this until the interview, he said they gave him a 6-minute penalty, and then he requested it be removed. Now, he said because he gave some vague reason, but to me, it feels more like, oh, if this time is removed, then it doesn't count against one of my 2 fastest times. It's like when people in ultras, like they don't on ultra sign up, they like take the DNFs off. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. It kind of struck me as almost a hide your Strava time kind of thing because of the way that HYROX marks the penalties, because they attribute the penalty to the station. And I think he mentioned this on the show that it said he did a 9-minute lunges. It's possibly a little bit of ego, and we all have ego, but it might be a little bit of ego of not wanting a 9-minute lunge to be on his record, so that when you went on high result and looked at his average, it didn't pull his average down. It may be as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't know that that should be allowed. Like, can I say that? Like, yeah, just get rid of that first HYROX time that I did because I'm embarrassed by it. I mean, it seems a little silly, right?
A little bit, but if HYROX are willing to do it, and don't forget, and I'm hoping I'm not speaking out of turn here, but there was debate whether it was a penalty or a DQ.
No, he was given a 6-minute penalty, which again makes no sense. If you watch the show, they kind of say we can do whatever we want, essentially. Like, here's these 5-minute penalties, but in the unsportsmanlike conduct part, we can it's kind of like when people are on reality shows. Here's a bunch of rules. The final rule is, by the way, we can do whatever we want. I think they need to tighten that up. I think this will become the patient zero though for a long time, because we know we're going to see this again. This idea of outside video, right? It's not their own. Even if it was their own live stream, it would still be a bad look if they went and said, oh, Hunter or Lauren or anybody, like, we know the judge let it go, but now we're going to penalize, even based on our own live stream, would be a bit cheeky. But taking someone else's video, again, I think we all agree this is horrible, but they've done it, and everybody knows about it. Like, everybody in the community has commented on my post, so this is going to come back to haunt them, I think.
How would you suggest? What would you do in HYROX's position?
I would say, yeah, we blew it. We got to train our judges better. But if I'm a lawyer, somebody on this call is a lawyer, I would say, like, how do I know this wasn't altered? How do I know this is from today? Like, you just can't do it. It's just way too, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But then it comes to that point where his race was so fast, like, it qualified him for the next major, correct?
Yeah. So you better train those judges.
Yeah.
That's the answer, because what's going to happen is everyone's going to be like, this guy, for example, might follow your competitors around and film them when he's trying to film you, and goes, look at the horrible burpees her competitor did. Go penalize her. And when they don't, it's, well, you did it to that guy. It's just they've done some, so, you know, Ian, sometimes they seem so ahead of the curve and on top of it, and sometimes they see so Spartan, as we say, right?
I love HYROX. I wish sometimes they thought about unexpected consequences or unintended consequences, and this probably could become an unintended consequence. Matt, I do have a question for you. Do you think they would have penalized him if it didn't get him into the Elite 15? Say he still won the race and it was a 58.
Well, that's the reason they gave, right? Like, if someone's going for the Elite 15, then we need to look at that closer. Isn't that what they said?
Yeah, if someone's going for the Elite 15, but even though he was going for the Elite 15, if this was a 58, do they care as much?
Yeah, that's a good question. They said, yeah, in this case, we saw a major violation by an athlete who was trying to get a time that would put him to the Elite 15. The extra steps and lunges were significant and no minor infringement. So, yeah, I think that's what they're saying. Like, this one we're not just going to let anybody in the Elite 15, I guess, is what they're saying. So interesting. This person said, if you put the sandbag down from the cramp, wouldn't he have been DQ'd for putting the weight down too? Is that still a rule? Do you get DQ'd or just penalized?
First time it's penalized, second time it's DQ.
Yeah, this is a weird thing. And again, the other interesting part is they're using the term 48 hours, which again, I think is about drug tests, but I feel like that's separate. Drug tests should be separate. I think regular rules should be, I think there's we let you know you're penalized, then there's an appeal time, right? And then, so, 2 hours before the awards, whatever it is. But they didn't even tell him. He just found out. So anyway, anything else you want to say about this before we move on?
The only thing I will say is I know Sean's getting a lot of stick, but I'll say two things. One, let he without sin cast the first stone.
Correct.
Just paraphrasing there. We've all probably done violations in our HYROXes. It's just, unfortunately, Sean's cost him because it was videoed. So there's that. The other aspect is Sean is a good athlete. I live streamed his London when he got sub 60. People are welcome to go back and look at that. I think I pick him up. Ironically enough, I pick him up either at the burpees or maybe the kettlebells. We have all these lunges in, and I believe they were perfect because they had a judge that was following him around. I guess that's another thing. Should the fastest athletes in the pro way be followed around by judges like they are in the UK?
Well, I mean, they tend to do that by default. Morgan was all alone on Sunday. So then the question is in Toronto. So then the question is, does that give the women behind her an advantage who aren't being followed? Because she was so many minutes ahead.
I'm not sure. Again, I guess this gets back to the old OCR argument, doesn't it? Of the cameraman directing you the correct way.
Right. I mean, yeah. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeadon Paul, aka Paul Yeadon. Where are you from, Paul? I'm guessing your name's Paul. Unless you're Yeadon. Maybe this is Yeadon, his wife.
He could be Yee, and then Don Paul could be his surname.
Yeah.
Yed on Paul. There we go.
So your name is Yeadon? I guess it is. Okay.
Wow.
Well, welcome to the show, Yeadon Paul from Reno, Nevada, the biggest little town, or whatever the fuck Reno's called.
I hope this kid, now I'm just thinking about it, I really hope he comes out in his next race and just crushes. Because I'm sure it's extremely overwhelming on the internet seeing all these people talking poorly about you in your race and everything. I don't know how I would handle that. So I'm sure he's going to come out this next race and he's going to do really well.
We will see. And yes, I do applaud him for even coming on. So let's talk about, there was a major that just happened in Amsterdam. I was very distracted. I was catching everything sort of after the fact. It was nice to be on the same time zone as the major, though. That was nice. But I kind of missed most of it, to be honest.
I expected more from you.
I know. Listen, I got this, I think once in a lifetime chance to go to Croatia, so I took it. What do you want from me? Did you watch it intently? Did you watch both things live, Catherine?
I watched the women's race sitting at my desk at work. It was awesome.
Did you have headphones on?
I did. And it was crazy because of
what?
just carry on, Catherine.
Just
carry on. He'll catch it up.
Sorry, Stacy. Stacy needs an Amazon code.
But the race was awesome to watch. I mean, the competition is real. It is getting serious, which is super exciting to watch as somebody who is taking HYROX pretty seriously and seeing Joanna. How freaking awesome is that? Like, she's what, 21?
Yeah, I gotta jump in here and say something about my boy Rich Ryan, who's not listening right now.
Shout out Rich.
Rich, motherfucker. They're having a show, right? Called, I think it's called Rock-a-Brain. And Jack Bauer, I think, says, any chance Joanna catches those two, Meg and Lauren, by the end of the year? He's like, no chance. I would bet anything on that. And I'm like, I know you love your girl Meg, but come on. That's like this girl's third race. She's young. She's fresh. I say there is.
Yeah.
What do you say, Ian K?
I say I was probably really disappointed that Joanna got on the podium because it cost me some Tim Tams. I'm not sure if you're aware, but I had a bet with the Hybrid Sport Media podcast from Australia. They were very confident that a APAC racer would be on both the male and the female podium. I said, I think Joanne's a couple of races away. It's her first major. I don't think she's got it in. And then Viola and Linda got sick. And yes, the rest is history. And that's not to take it away from Joanne at all. She ran a really, really good race. It would just be quite interesting if you had Linda from last year and Viola to see, would the gap have been bigger? Because obviously Joanne caught Kate at the end, didn't she? Mm-hmm. She was slowly but surely just going through this field. She ran a great race, Joanne, an absolutely fantastic race. But because Joanne won, I now have to send some jammy dodgers to Down Under. And Matt, I don't know if you had any jammy dodgers when you were over here.
I don't even know what you're saying right now. I don't know what language you're speaking.
It's a biscuit. Oh, sorry, it's a cookie.
A cookie?
Yeah, it's cookie. It's a jam cookie.
Oh.
They call cookies biscuits.
They're called biscuits over here. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised at how well Joanne did. And the whole race was incredibly close. I know Meg and Lauren kind of ran away with it after the sleds, but the third down to, seventh? Catherine, give or take, they were just changing at all times.
Yeah, it was a great race to watch. It was super exciting. Everyone the positions kept switching. I think Joanna, even with Linda and Viola, right? Viola is her name. I always mess it up, but I think she would have been right there with them. Honestly, look at her times, look at her past races. I think she really would have been still competing for the top 3 spots. And it would have been close with them.
Are these the actual final times? These times changed twice, I think.
These
are the wrong ones.
No, they're the wrong ones because you've still got Kate and Joanna with sub-60s, which didn't happen when they added some time back.
Okay, so come on, High Result, get it together. Does that mean they haven't changed the regular website
They may not
yet?
have changed officially. I've still got the presser somewhere which tells us the actual times.
Well, I'm going to go to there's an Instagram post.
Yeah, I saw an Instagram post of it. So is the record broken still? I missed that.
It wasn't broken this time, but Lauren still has the record anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Too many HYROX accounts.
So many.
How many are official?
Okay, here we go. So now we're looking at it. So, but they did change them twice, didn't they, Ian? There was a 36-second adjustment, and then this weird, and then this 44-second adjustment.
Yeah, it was weird because I think that Lauren, via the race clock, Catherine, you might know better than me because I only watched it on catch up and watched it quite quickly because as it was happening, I was driving home. But Lauren on the race clock passed the finish line when it was still sub 58. But her chip time registered 58.06 or 58.07, something like that. So they adjusted everyone down about 40 seconds because there was a malfunction with the timing chips or something.
Oh,
but then they realized they measured the course wrong and added time back.
How do you do that? I don't understand.
I have an idea.
Okay.
My idea is that it's 18 was the number of boxes they did, correct?
18.
Yeah, so they did 18 meters, so it would have been 18 boxes. I wonder whether they counted 20 lines and just thought that's it, because 20 lines would create 18 boxes.
I think there's an SOP like or two missing, because we keep having issues, and I do understand that they're in different countries, but there's got to be a book, right? And then you follow the book and or the checklist, but we just keep seeing like these things, these weird things happen. And in this sport, it's like kind of like you had one job, right?
Same, like, what was that post where they accidentally put like station 8 wall, or they messed up the stations that were
Right.
like, come on.
So it's pretty important to get these things right. And I don't know how it's not a Spartan course, which it's like, 5K, 5.6K, right? Like you got to get this stuff right. And especially at a major. So I don't know who's the czar of the sport on site, but easily should be caught by someone, but the someones aren't being checked. Because I can't even think. There was another recent one, Ian, that I can't even think of, where we were like, oh, how did they mess that one up?
I honestly can't remember, but I think I know what you mean. But yeah, I can't remember.
And I was like, why didn't an extra person, like we see it happen at Deca, except Deca, as we know, is like 4 employees, and so we give them a little bit more slack. You know, there's 100 people on site for HYROX. Come on, like someone's so it's got to be someone's job, and then someone's job above them to double check to count every. You know, okay, there's 5 plates. There's 5 plates. There's 5 plates. Like whoever's job that is. It doesn't take long, but it needs to be done, and it's not done. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm going to give some mitigations here. I know I like giving mitigations. It's my job. I'm a lawyer. First mitigation, this was the first Thursday race, which means they had a day less when it comes to build up. So there could have been a bit of a rush. That's the first mitigation I would give. I don't know for sure. I don't know their schedule, but it was the first time they did it on Thursday. I agree with you, Matt. Someone should be checking this, but there's that. Second mitigation, at least they're making different mistakes. They're not screwing it up constantly and making the same mistake. Every mistake they seem to be making is the first time they've made it, and they learn from it. We know HYROX learn from this kind of thing. The third mitigation, I really credit them with owning this, making a decision. Whether I agree with the decision or not is by the by, but making a decision and sending out a release, putting something out on Instagram and making it clear to everyone. I give them a lot of credit for that.
All I have to say is I'm sure after this past weekend that this stuff will not be happening.
Well, that's what we hope, right?
You would hope, and I think that HYROX has their shit together enough where they'll be much better. I think that, at least. What do you think? Clearly you disagree with that. Go ahead.
I think that I lost my train of thought. My wife came in and was asking me something. I'm sorry. And I totally got distracted. I think that, oh, yeah. Now I remember what I was going to say. In the past, when we've raised questions about anything, like really fast sleds or times, they've always just kind of gone with, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. And I feel like now they can't do that anymore. So when we saw this email and this post, we were thrilled, but I think it's because there's too many eyes on it now. And I think in the past, Like they wouldn't have. They just would have been like, nope, those are the record times. 9 women got record sleds. Yep, good course. Don't you think, Ian, it's possible that they might have let that go 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's possible that 2 years ago they may have let it go. I heard a rumor that there was some spectator footage about there only being 18 boxes, and that was then handed to a race director, and that was the reason they went mea culpa. I don't know how true that rumor is.
Michael, second biggest commenter today after Yeadon, they do a live run through of the pro and open races, which probably helps for the validation. They do? When do they do that? Oh, you're talking about when they do the explanation. You think something similar should happen for the highest profile race category for the sport. They're just telling you what to do in that. They're not measuring it though. They're just like going, okay, this is what you do. This is what you do.
No, I think what Michael's referring to is occasionally on the time before, so on the evening before, someone either from the crew or from somewhere else will actually run the race. I've seen that happen.
Oh, right. Yeah, that actually should happen too.
So I think what Michael's suggesting is that maybe someone should do the Elite 15 race beforehand, but I don't think that was possible. I'm not sure when they got access to the venue, but it was Thursday night.
I just think you've got, like I said, you've got weights and measures, you've got standing operating procedures. Follow them. All right, moving on. Oh, anything else we want to say? We talked about the women's race a lot. Do we want to talk about the men's race at all before we move on?
Nah.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Oh, Alex.
I watched it.
Can I just say, I actually love this race for a completely different reason to the women's race. What I loved about this race was how cool, calm, and collective Alex was in just executing his game plan. So Ronkovic had a game plan coming in. We had Ryland try and take him off the game plan after the second station, or maybe actually after the skier, when he sprinted past him, offered him some water. He just saw Ronco having fun, like he was out for a stroll. Ryland then dropped back a little, but let's talk about Ryland in a second. But Ryland dropped back a little. Then after the sled Porsche, you had Afan from UK do almost the same thing. And Alex just got on with his race. That's the sign of a champion who is looking to defend his crown. He's just racing himself.
Yeah, he's that guy right now, as they say. And I'm not sure if Ryland was like just having fun, or if he was kind of like, I don't know, like kind of bragging a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he was kind of, you know what I'm talking about. What's the word I'm looking for? Grandstanding a little bit.
Potentially, given Ryland his flowers though, he came in and he was playing with house money. If he didn't succeed in this race, there was a good chance he would drop out the standings, because I'd have to double check, but I think one of his good times was almost a year ago. So he would have probably dropped out. He'd have to have fought his way in, playing with house money, playing with no fear, and got third place. So well done to Ryland. Yeah.
Speaking of flowers, Yannick Zappola, winner of the German airport race, who we gave a very hard time to, looks like he's the real deal. 56.46, fourth on the day.
Yeah, but apparently his burpees and lunges are slow, so he got really he was really lucky when it came to the way they worked out the penalties. I'm kidding. I didn't actually check either one of those. But I do want to talk about that, Matt. What is your view on them averaging out everyone's time and adding that as a way to sort this mess out, rather than giving the athletes, say, 10% onto their individual burpee and lunch time?
Yeah, I kind of didn't quite know. I think Meg was the first one to point that out to me. Like it maybe should have been obvious, but I'm not always the brightest bulb in the tree. But she was like, that hurts me, right? Because I do better in these other stations. So yeah, why did they do it that way when the other ones aren't on the same, right? They're not even on the grid, right? It's different part of the course.
All I can imagine was with how close, in particular, the men's race was. I told that bad joke about our fourth place racer there, but with how close it was, I suspect had they averaged out their burpee and their lunge times individually, you would have seen some shifting in places because
And they
I
wanted to
want to say,
avoid that.
yeah, they wanted to avoid a situation where perhaps Yannick became fifth place or John overtook Joffrey, because I think John and Joffrey there was only 5 seconds between them, if that, or 3 seconds. Just
But what would it matter if the podium stayed the same?
Money.
Right, but they didn't pay them all that day.
No, but wouldn't you be upset if, for example, you were Yannick and you thought you got fourth place money and they'll be saying, oh, you've got fifth place money?
I'd be upset.
Well, yeah, but so you think it was all about what change can we make that has the least amount of upset? That was their thinking, you think?
Yeah, and on that ground, I can kind of accept it that they had to make a decision. The other decision they could have made was just leave the times, but don't count them for anything. Just have this race being like a strange race that existed, but is taken out of the ecosystem. So it didn't count for Elite 15 times going forward.
Yeah, they definitely couldn't do that. I mean, it's a decent idea, but again, we're a sport based on time. We're a sport based on it's not like they don't know the splits, right? It's not like, oh, we'd have to go back and watch the video to figure out the splits. It's like every split is measured already. So I'm honestly exhausted talking about it. I want to move on.
Okay.
Other than this comment, I think JK has set a new standard with dominating the rock zone. He even brought his own chalk to shave seconds off his farmer's carry. I think a lot of racers will follow suit. So I didn't know it was legal. Did he keep it in his pocket? I didn't know that was legal.
I think you could do that. I think you could bring gloves if you want.
No, I've seen gloves. I've seen Bracken wear some gloves.
So why would chalk be any different?
Because it could be laced with something.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know.
And
I don't know.
While we're at it, we gave all the other podiums flowers. JK again, real deal, as in he's again proven he's a great racer.
Yes. So next up is Hong Kong, which he'll go to. A lot of these men, I think, won't go to. So it'll be interesting to see what we get in Hong Kong. Uh-oh.
Jeez. You all right? Wash it down with some iced coffee.
Okay. Here's my next topic. Are you ready?
Oh, God.
It's called It's Sure Expensive to Be a World Champ. I've seen a lot of people posting about fees. And a gentleman shared his post with me and said, oh boy, where did it go? His name is HYROX Basti. His real name is, let's see, Bastian Peters. And it says, congratulations, you've qualified for the HYROX World Champs. You have $40 to claim your spot. And he says, it's not easy for me, but I won't participate at the HYROX World Championships in Chicago. Over the last few months, I've invested a lot in HYROX, parentheses, sweat and money. I believe that good performance should be rewarded. I don't understand how the ticket alone can cost $275 USD. That's more than twice the price of a normal ticket. I can't and won't support it. And I also know that, if people want to race in multiple waves in DECA, they are spending a lot of money. So should this mass participation sport, which requires on the 99% to survive, have small fees, no fees for their world champions? If we're declaring world champion, should it be expensive to be a world champ?
Definitely is expensive. I remember last year, I think going to France, the ticket was very close to that amount almost. You know, as a competitor that aims to go to the World Championships and going to this DECA one in December, I was like, geez, it's like paying basically for another whole entire race, and it is expensive, and it would be nice if I understand. You know, I would think that you're gonna have to pay something, right? Like, you're going to a big venue. It's gonna be like Nice was beautiful. It was awesome. It was an experience as well. Um, so I would think that some money's gonna go into it. I already like would prepare for that, but yeah, the tickets are getting very expensive, and if yeah, I don't know about free. That would be amazing, but in realistic, maybe a little bit less would be awesome. I think for everybody could agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think Deca. We know Deca is not going to do it. We know Deca is already on thin margins. But what if HYROX looked at it as a loss leader? It's their hugest event of the year. They know they get the most eyeballs on it, and we go, you know what? If you qualify, $100, something like that. Like, so it's not nothing, and you still have to pay for it. And you know, someone who works for HYROX might be like, "Oh, you have no idea. We'd lose million." Like, I don't know, but I'm just throwing that out there as a thought exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you do doubles and you do the other categories, you pay for those too. But yeah, it's rough to travel to a different continent, which is what most of the people are, and then charge them an arm and a leg for a ticket.
Yeah. Yeah, I made France last year just like a whole vacation because I was over there. Yeah.
Were you there with Michael Azar, our second most commenter of the day?
Yes, I was. I can't even like see comments. I have no idea if anyone's commenting anything.
Oh, he's commenting a fair amount. He's watching in the other room, I guess.
No, he's traveling. He's not here.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about him then. Ian, what are your thoughts?
On Michael Azar, I have very few thoughts. I believe he's a lovely guy, but I don't know him from Adam. Is that the question?
The question is, should if you earn a spot in the World Champs, and by the way, I don't think the Elite 15 pay. I think they get a free ticket and then they're guaranteed a certain amount of money, right? So should age groupers be given a deal on World Champs?
You see, I can see both arguments here. I can completely understand what Catherine's saying, but it'd be nice if it was like capped at a regular ticket. I don't know HYROX's margins at all. The world champs may already be a loss leader. We don't know. But thinking like a capitalist, if I had this race which people had earned their way into, and you know that people are going to pay it because it's great to be able to say you've been to World Championships, wouldn't you keep your margins at least at the same as a regular race? Because if it was priced at a regular race, they're losing money. They're losing the margin because you got T-shirt, you got the bigger venue, you've got all the razzmatazz. So they'd be losing money if they charge, I don't know, $100 for a ticket. I don't know what their margins are on a World Champs ticket, but I do know that whatever they charge, people are going to pay it.
Yeah, it you know, my mind does go to OCR and World's Toughest, which World's Toughest they used to put a ton of money into. Definitely a loss leader. They gave away big money. Sometimes that was sponsored money, but you know, they built these humongous things and it's this one big, huge, like this is our premier event. And in the last few years, that's kind of gone down. We still love it. It's still a great event, but they're not putting that money into it that they used to. But also it was like almost by definition a loss leader because like they don't even compete during the year, right? Like now they've done a lot more toughest and infinities, but once upon a time it's like we don't even compete during the year, and then boom, we do this big giant thing. So, yeah, I mean, we assume they're profitable now, right? We're not going to know for another 5 or 10 years how profitable they were in the early years, but we assume that this is, you know, these venues are expensive.
Hmm.
I assume obviously they still have investors to pay as well. We have to remember they have shareholders. I know a lot of people may think that it just goes straight in Mo and Christian's pocket, but they are funded. HYROX is owned. Is it? I want to say Absolute Sport, but that's probably incorrect. But they do have shareholders.
Yeah, I'm not
So,
exactly sure. I feel like we've talked about this before, that they had another company, like a triathlon business or something, and then they were bought by that company, or
yeah, the owners of Ironman own HYROX, the ultimate owners.
say that one more time.
The ultimate owners of of Ironman are the same company that owns HYROX.
That's a fact, or you're guessing?
No, that is a fact. Let me just see if I can pull it up.
Go to Wikipedia while I read this comment by the other
Okay.
person that's not Michael Azar. What about gyms sponsoring races to go? If I were a gym owner, I would sponsor a race to go. I think people try to do that. I mean, gym owners are on thin margins themselves.
What if you don't go to? What if you're not like you just go to a normal gym and they're not, like about that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
That's my gym's not about HYROX. I just show up, push some sleds, and leave.
My gym is my backyard.
Yeah.
Pepper's over there meowing. Pepper, can you give me some money? No. He wants me to feed him. Pepper, what's your deal? God. Come here, buddy. Let's see if you guys can hear him. People love pets.
Do you have another one named Salt?
We do not. There you go, Pepper. What's up, buddy? He's just meowing.
I mean, in a perfect world, being able to go race in a world championship for free would be awesome. But
okay, Cheryl entered the chat. We've missed you, Cheryl. This feels very much like an Ironman situation. It's becoming a wealthy person's sport. And we don't want that, because everybody hates triathletes and we think they're douches. So we don't want that. We want this to be clearly not for everybody, but yeah, it's I mean, listen, they're the cat's pajamas right now. They can do whatever they want. Everybody loves them. Everybody's writing about them. Everyone loves to say I'm a HYROX athlete. So who knows? Like, are they gonna cash out? You mean, like, I think in a couple years maybe that's the goal. It's like, wow, let's just grow this thing as big as we can and cash out.
Yeah, HYROX ultimate owners. Sorry, the main shareholder is Absolute Sports,
right? Which I thought was owned by Christian.
I don't believe so.
Come on, Ian.
Sorry, I'm looking as fast as I can.
Look up.
We're going to talk about.
Go look up European business licenses. Isn't that your expertise? Aren't you an expert in European or UK business?
I am to some degree. I've got way too many tabs open now. I've done a Matt B. Davis.
What's that? Be distracted?
Yeah, be distracted by something that's probably not that interesting to most people.
Seriously, though, what kind of law do you practice, Ian?
I now do financial compliance. I previously did litigation. Yeah, I'm giving up on this.
Catherine, do you study any form of law?
Nope. The law of attraction.
Hey now, me too. I'm into that.
Yeah, it's real.
It is real.
So real.
As a man thinketh, a man becomes.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. You are preaching to the choir right now.
Do you do mantras? Do you have things on the wall?
I'm more of like I talk to myself, kind of like that kind of stuff.
So, yeah,
and I'm crazy.
What's that?
That makes me sound crazy, but I'm a very like self-motivating, like talking to myself in that way.
So do you?
And journaling. So I guess I write things down. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for you, is it during the race as well, or is it just kind of?
Oh, it's like when I'm not even training too during the day.
Right.
I think that's the best way to do it, because then it's just like subconscious and it's just like a natural thing.
Sometimes I'm really good with it and sometimes I'm not. And I could sorry, I caught this comment. Aren't you glad this is why I can't always like be checking with the comments, and like Dave comes on here is like, read that comment. I'm like, just give me a second. I'll get to it in a minute. Martin Loftus, I'll get to you in a moment. Like I'll say things like, oh, I'm an idiot. Like, if I mess up something, and it's like, you shouldn't say that.
You shouldn't.
Like, but I do that all the time. Like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. You know what I mean?
Change
And
that.
I know I got to work on that.
Yeah.
But also, I think very highly of myself. Just ask my wife; she'll tell you. And so that helps, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As long as you know that you are capable, and let's stop calling yourself an idiot.
I know. I got to stop doing that. Ian, you seem extremely practical to me. Very English, very stiff upper lip. Do you have mantras? Do you think positively? Do you have self-talk?
From time to time, I guess I tried the whole mantra thing. It didn't quite agree with me, but I don't see any harm in them. However, I have found the answer to the puzzle in terms of HYROX's honor.
Don't change the subject, Ian.
Yeah.
We're trying to get we want to get the.
That was really smooth the way.
We're trying to get into you. I'm going out of my way to try to make you uncomfortable now.
In front is the company that took I'll read it out. They took. Sorry, I lost it. Takes majority stake in HYROX. So Infront Sport, which is a sports medium. There we go. Thank you, Paul.
Do you know what the first name of the company was? But it didn't work. It was Outback, and they hated it. They're like, let's do Infront. Go ahead. Sorry.
For a second, I actually thought you were being serious, and that would have made sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
I appreciate that. That was good.
yeah. So circling back, when you're not owned by the people running it, it could be quite hard to justify taking a loss on the world champs, is what I think we're saying.
But that's the thing. I think Wanda, I needed to just ask Christian next time I see him. Because that Oopsalute company is like that's who charges your credit card, I think. I know I've seen that a lot. Oh, keeping old Catherine awake there.
All right, guys.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to post this really quickly because I don't understand it. I advertised on local Facebook for Master of the Athletes, looking for people to come out and try my HYROX style fitness race. Posted 2 weeks ago, not even a comment. Martin, it depends where you posted. I think posting once is never a recipe for success. So it's very possible you didn't get a comment. But if no one's ever heard of you, then I don't know. If you want to call me, I'll give you some marketing tips. But if you just posted randomly in a group, some people might just be like, who is this guy? What is it? Yeah, I'd like to get to the bottom of it, though. I would like to know who owns it. And I mean, it seems like HYROX and Mo aren't just working for a paycheck, right? And did I say HYROX and Mo? I meant Christian and Mo.
Yeah, I would imagine they still have an equity stake, but they do have people who are funding them as well. So they do have to. Everyone has to answer someone. You have to answer to Stacey.
That is correct. And the cat.
Pepper.
The cat. Oh God.
All right. Well, let's see what's coming up. What is next in HYROX? What are the next big events?
I'm not sure.
On the schedule? Do you want me to tell you what's next on the schedule?
Yeah. I don't think it's any US races.
Oh, we have a Milan race this weekend, I believe, in Italy, and then in 2 weeks' time is Birmingham and perhaps another race.
Will you be at Birmingham?
I thought you were going to ask me, was that Milan then? I was going to say, could I charge it to the hybrid fitness media, expense account? I'll happily go to Milan, but yeah, I'll be at Birmingham.
So last weekend, real quick, let's just real quickly. There were 10,872 finishers in Amsterdam over 3 days. That's nuts. Nice had a mere 3,089.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's why it was 3 days long.
It's one of the big. It's one of the biggest events. Yeah, the previous event that big was England, right?
It would be London Olympia more than likely.
How big was Toronto? I know that one was big too.
Toronto had 5,500 finishers.
So that's still a pretty big amount.
No, it's certainly we haven't had that many in America.
Yeah.
It looks like they're averaging, would you say, 3,000 to 3,500 per day? So it's a 3-day event, you're getting close to 10,000.
That's basically, yeah. Perth was low. Their first time in Perth was 2,400, but that's their first time there. And they typically kind of double.
I love how you say Perth was low and it's still 4 times the amount of America 2 years ago and
no, exactly.
UK 3 days.
So Milan, Korea. So sorry, Birmingham. Milan and Incheon, which is in Korea. Then Birmingham and Madrid on the same weekend.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's a ton. And then the next week, then you've got like 3 more big European events: Hamburg 2 days, Poland 2 days, Paris 2 days. So it's about to get nuts over there, Ian. You probably know people at every single event. Oh, hey, Spin. What's up, buddy?
Fingers crossed we do, and we can send us those sweet, sweet podium pictures, eh, Matt?
That's one thing we love. We love those top 3 photos.
We got to get the U.S. races going. We got a month till Chicago.
What races will you be doing in Chicago? Which categories?
Just pro women's.
That's it?
Yeah, it takes it out of me.
You could do a relay at the end of the day.
Oh yeah. I might do a relay potentially in Vegas. That was in the talks, but I had nothing confirmed. That would be fun. I've never done a relay though.
What about Mikey? Would Mikey do a relay?
He'll be in Chicago doing men's pro as well.
Let's go. Pro?
Yeah. We don't we just like full send it into the pro division. We didn't even want to bother with open.
I'm currently signed up for a relay in Chicago, and I might do doubles because that's my new favorite thing.
It's so fun. Doubles is a lot.
It really is. It is sold out currently. So if someone's got a doubles ticket, I'm interested.
I don't know anybody with a doubles ticket, but I'll let you know.
See, that's pretty good. That's not horrible, Ian. Would you say?
It's embarrassing that I've got the worst English accent on this call.
I mean, yours is okay. All right. Well, I think we covered pretty much everything. Was there any topic you wanted to cover, Ian or Fozzie? Was there anything else you wanted to cover?
I've got 2. So not trying to extend you past an hour, but
no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
HYROX ones.
Go ahead. No, I'm fine. I ran out of notes.
Okay. Deca, did you see what they announced over the weekend? They're changing the competitive outside of elite.
So they started with a weird Spartan model that they didn't need to do. So they basically just fixed that. Is that correct? Is that accurate?
I think so, yeah. They're going to elite and open, basically. Because if they went pro and open, maybe HYROX would sue them. But yeah, that's as I understand it.
So you could race open before and still qualify for your age group. They just put them in different times of the day before. And now they're just like, why are we doing that?
I thought you couldn't qualify from open, but you are right. There never used to be any actual difference between open and age group in terms of the exercises or how harsh the judges were to you? It was the same race.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it was the Spartan model of, oh, we think we need to do this to get a certain kind of customer. So now it's just, yeah. The other thing they added today was no deck open, you do not qualify for Worlds. Really? Even though you did the same thing? Okay, well so now there's no more open. Everybody can qualify, right?
Yeah. It was Tanya, by the way. Big shout out to Tanya.
Yes. The other announcement was they've added a category to Deca Ruck. Now there's Deca Ruck and Deca Ruck Masters. So congratulations. More waves.
Is Deca Ruck Masters just a case of for people who are older, or do you have to be someone who has studied to really be able to do the ruck race?
Yeah, you've
like
got to go to 6 years of school. You got to go to 6 years of school.
Wait, Matt, did you see that? Sorry, did you see that Alondra Greenlee's selling a mixed doubles ticket for Chicago? You reposted that, didn't you?
Oh, there you go.
I thought she like tagged you in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just did. I didn't want to do a mixed.
You just need a partner now.
Well, you didn't want mixed.
I mean, if you're offering, I'll maybe say yes. I'll think about it. But okay. I was thinking more men's. The sadder news is that she's not going. That's the sadder news, guys.
Do you know why she's not going?
Alondra's always played it a little close to the chest. She's kind of, and I just think it's just, I mean, I don't know, but she's never one to come out and say, I'm definitely doing this or I'm definitely retiring. Like, that's just not really her thing. But yeah, the proof is in the pudding. So if she's not racing, she's not racing. So basically, we've already lost 2 of our great American racers. We lost Belle, who made the world champs 2 years ago. We've lost Alondra, who also made the world champs 2 years ago.
Haven't you lost 3? Who was the amazing racer who went off to get the doctorate?
Oh, Rebecca Hammond. Rebecca, Rebecca, she only did like 1 race, though. She only 1 or 2 races. She was invited to something, and then we lost her from OCR more than we lost her from hybrid. But anyway, by the way, I could be wrong. Alondra could just be skipping this one and do 5 more races this year. It feels like she's kind of done.
Is Chris going to race again?
That's a question for Chris. We never know what Chris is going to do.
I know. She's living her best life.
Yeah. She's enjoying it. Thanks for staying up late with us, by the way. She always hangs out and joins us. What was I saying? Oh, so Deca basically fixed it because that's what it should be. It should just be elite and everybody else. What was the other one other than the Deca Ruck category?
You've now got another category, but you just reminded me talking about Alondra. One interesting thing about the Elite 15 race this past weekend, and Matt, you brought it up when we were putting the list together, wasn't just who was there, but who wasn't there. So you didn't have Hunter McIntyre, you didn't have Michael Sandbach, you didn't have Viola and Linda because they were sick. What do you think about basically people who have qualified calling their shot and deciding, well, I can do any of these 4 majors, so I'm going to enter the major where I think I can race my best race? Because Michael openly said he just wasn't ready for this race, so he would go to Hong Kong.
Yeah, I don't know. I really thought Hunter was going to do all of them but Hong Kong, because last year he kind of took that approach and then maybe it cost him at the World Champs. I thought we were going to see him. I was surprised not to. And then he raced at doubles anyway. Right?
Yeah, he did. He was going for a world record, I think, with Graham Halliday. I think initially he might have been meant to be racing with Michael. I'm sure I read that somewhere. It might have been Greg on Rocks Live who brought that. But Michael decided not to travel, so the great Scott was picked up to race with Hunter. And that was actually a great race. I really wish that had something other than an Instagram live feed on that. Which had Hunter and Graham. You had, oh, I'm going to get the name of Ronco's partner wrong, so I'm not going to say it. And then you had Tim Vinish and partner, and they were all within seconds of each other, or maybe 30 seconds or so. So that was a great race.
Yeah, it was HYROX Pro. This is wrong. What the hell happened? HYROX Pro Doubles, it says Robert Van Herk. When did they race?
They raced on the Saturday, I think.
Saturday, yeah.
Fabian Eisenlauer.
There we go, Fabian Eisenhower.
Eisenlauer. They beat Hunter and Graham by, looks like 30 seconds. And then Tim and Florian. And then kind of a bunch of people that we don't know. Yeah, I guess they did not get, what's the record anyways? It's sub 50?
Not yet.
No, I don't know. The record, I think, was set by Hunter and Michael Sandbach in Manchester, I want to say. I'm not sure what the record is. There was a lot of attempts at records as well, because we also saw Lauren and JK go for the mixed record and just missed it. We saw Kate Davey and Zara go for the female record and again just missed it. So I do wonder what would have happened if it was in Nice and you didn't have 3,000 people on the run track, because that run track on Friday and on Saturday looked congested.
Yeah, I didn't see it as much. I think you know how I feel about we have too many records, right? Maybe people should just race. How about that? Just show up and race. And because you want to win, because it keeps you fit. Like, maybe we shouldn't all be chasing world records constantly. Just a thought.
I'm currently the fastest person in Rochdale called Ian. Come on.
I mean, these are legitimate. These aren't like the ones I call out lately are the country records, right? Like, I'm setting Australian records or Irish records, or like, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about these guys, these pros. I mean, I guess it keeps them, maybe they're bored. So they're like, I'm bored. I'm just going to go try to break a record. I don't know, but why don't we just race? You know, like, if you break the record in the 100 meters, right? It's because you raced your ass off, right? You didn't like, I'm just going to go and see if I'm going to break the world record this time. You know what I mean?
So what would you rather them just not say, I'm trying to break a record, and just go and race hard and break the record?
Listen, I'm a little tired. It's been a couple of long weeks of jet lag, but I think I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of the fucking record breaking conversations. It's just like,
you're jealous. Don't be jealous.
Do I need to pull out my flag? I've got a white flag. Okay.
Show it.
Hang on.
Okay.
Actually, I think it's black. I didn't think they did white starting this year. Hang on.
Yeah, I have black.
A white flag. Is the American Revolution War still ongoing? Is this for surrender?
I'll tell you what I do have. Check out this bad boy.
Wow.
This is my Built for Athletes bag, which I haven't even unwrapped yet. I will probably do an unboxing tomorrow. No, I'm not jealous. I'm impressed by feats. We are all impressed. When we watch the Olympics and we see, like, oh my God, not only did he win, but he broke the world record. Like, that's exciting. Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean? Like, every week it's like, oh, we're going to try to break the world record. It's like, fuck, just fucking go out and race, dude. That's my hot take. That's my hot take of the day. World records are meaningless.
Okay. I'm going to circle to the final topic I had on my notes, Matt, which was the breaking of another record.
Exactly. Exactly. What are you going to put in the bio if you don't have a fucking world record? Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
The breaking of another world record. The solo deadly dozen record was broken by our good friend Billy Blower.
Not to be confused with Billy Butcher.
No.
But yeah, like that's the thing. Like when Hunter used to go out and race, it was like, oh my God, like these times are getting faster and faster. And we were really impressed by it, but he still was racing. And so all these doubles and mixed doubles, let's just get together and try to break the record. It's like, how about this? Let's flip it. I'm gonna flip a script on you. What if it's instead of just let's go to this location? How about it's like get all the other teams together, like we did for Worlds. Like if you're gonna do it, it's because you're going head to head. Like, hey, listen, we're going to whatchamacallit. So hey, Rich, you get your partner. Hunter, you get your partner. Let's all race together, and then we see if a record gets broken. But just like that's just where I'm at today, fellas. Exactly,
That's
Michael.
fine.
Yeah.
To be fair, the men's pro, it was more of a race than a attempt to break.
No, of course it was. The men's pro, by definition, is a race. It is, but you see what I'm saying, guys. There's going to be somebody listening who hates what I'm saying, and at least one person listening to this after the fact of the podcast that will DM me and say, Matt, I agree. Can we chill out on the fucking records?
Okay. Final topic from me then, Matt. Deadly Dozen. We've talked about how it's a great race, but their first test would be when the English weather did what the English weather does, which is rain. Okay?
And you were there, I believe.
I was, and it was muddy. It was muddier than most OCRs. And you know what? It still worked.
Did people hang out, though, or did they leave?
Yeah, there wasn't as much hanging out as there was on previous races. There was still a fair amount of people milling around, but only if you knew people. Whereas I think, Matt, what you experienced was kind of everyone stayed, didn't they? Irrespective if you had anyone racing. But yeah, people hung out still. Everyone was wearing unsuitable footwear because they'd come there expecting a fitness race, so they had flat soles on, all slipping and sliding in the mud. But it worked. People enjoyed themselves.
I have a question for you. You know, a lot of these high school and college fields are actually turf. What if you did it on turf? Would that improve times or slow times down? Improve them, right?
It should improve them because in theory, you'd slip less. You'd probably have to wear different shoes, though, because presumably you wouldn't wear flat shoes on turf.
So you think that's why he wouldn't want to do them? Because you'd have to show up with cleats? Or what do you call them? What do you call your soccer cleats?
We call them boots. And ultimately, would it matter?
So if I have regular sneakers on, they're called trainers.
Yes.
But if I have cleats on for football, what we call soccer, you call them boots.
Football boots.
What do you call rain boots?
Wellies.
Oh, can we end the show on that? That was the most like that was Willie's.
Let's end the show on that. You can catch Ian K on the UK HXR podcast every week. You can also catch him on the UK OCR podcast. You can catch Catherine Fossbender, aka Fozzie Fit, at Chicago in 1 month.
A month from Saturday.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.